Before we begin, take 1 second and subscribe right now. Not tomorrow, not later. Subscribe, because the story you're about to hear is not just about a coin. It's about time, power, history, and a moment that most people completely overlook. If you're a man who respects legacy, value, and hidden wealth, this video was made for you. Picture this. It's the early 1960s. The world feels heavy. Nations are redefining themselves, old empires are cracking, and new identities are being forged with steel, sweat, and sacrifice. In the southern tip of Africa, a country stands at a crossroads. South Africa is stepping into a new monetary era, quietly, without noise, without spectacle. And in that silence, a small coin is born. Most people never gave it a second glance. They spent it. They lost it. They forgot it. But today, that same coin carries a story far bigger than its size. Hold the South Africa 10 cents 1963 coin in your mind. Just 10 cents. Something you wouldn't even bend down to pick up if it fell on the ground today. But coins are not just money. They are witnesses. They see governments rise and fall. They pass through the hands of workers, soldiers, businessmen, fathers, and sons. This coin has lived a life longer than many of the people watching this video. 1963 was not a random year. South Africa had recently shifted from the pound system to the decimal rand system in 1961. That alone makes early decimal coins special. They represent a break from colonial tradition and the birth of a new economic identity. The 10 cents coin of 1963 belongs to that first generation. It was minted at a time when the nation was redefining its financial backbone. Coins like this were not designed for collectors. They were designed for circulation, for daily life, for buying bread, newspapers, and fuel. That is what makes surviving examples so powerful today. Now let's talk about the man on the coin. Jan van Riebeeck. A name that carries weight. A name tied to the very beginning of European settlement in South Africa. His portrait is not just decoration. It is a statement. It reflects authority, origin, and control. When you look at that face, you are looking at the roots of a nation's modern history. For some, it represents progress. For others, conflict. But for collectors and historians, it represents significance. Coins that carry controversial or historically important figures often gain attention as time passes, not less. The metal itself matters too. This was not a flashy gold coin meant to impress royalty. It was made for the people. Strong, durable, practical. Built to last. And that durability is one reason some examples still exist today. But don't be fooled. Survival does not mean common. Most of these coins were worn down, damaged, melted, or discarded. The ones that escaped that fate did so by chance, not design. Think about how many hands this coin passed through. A miner at the end of a long shift. A shop owner counting change late at night. A child buying sweets after school. A father putting coins in his pocket before heading home. Every scratch, every mark, every edge tells a story. For men who understand work, struggle, and time, that history resonates deeply. Here is where the story begins to tighten. Not all 1963 10 cents coins are equal. This is where most people stop paying attention, and where real value hides. Minting variations, strike quality, alignment, metal composition, and preservation level all play a role. To the untrained eye, it's just another old coin. To the trained eye, it's a locked vault. Coins from transitional periods often carry anomalies. Slight differences in die usage. Minor errors. Limited production runs that were never meant to be rare. But time turns mistakes into treasures. What was once ignored becomes hunted. What was once common becomes legendary. Collectors who focus on South African coinage know that early decimal issues are a battlefield. Demand comes not just from local collectors, but from international buyers who understand geopolitical history. These are not impulse buyers. These are men with patience, capital, and vision. They don't rush. They wait. And when the right piece appears, they act decisively. Now imagine this coin sitting in a drawer for decades. Forgotten. Overlooked. passed down in a box of old items after someone passed away. This is how most valuable coins are found. Not in auctions. Not in museums. But in silence. In homes. In pockets of history that families never thought to examine closely. The 1963 10-cent coin represents more than currency. It represents the first steps of a modern monetary system. It represents authority stamped into metal. It represents a nation asserting itself in a changing world. And that emotional weight adds to its appeal. Men between 35 and 65 understand this instinctively. You've seen systems change. You've seen value rise and fall. You know that real worth is not always obvious at first glance. There is also scarcity driven by condition. Coins that survived in near original state are extremely limited. Circulation was heavy. Handling was rough. Storage was careless. A coin that avoided all of that is not just rare. It's exceptional. And exceptional items attract exceptional prices. This is why some collectors spend years hunting a single date, a single denomination, a single variation. It's not about owning many things. It's about owning the right thing. The thing that tells a story no replica can copy. As the years passed, interest in South African numismatics grew quietly. No hype. No noise. Just steady recognition. Serious collectors noticed patterns. Certain dates started disappearing from the market. Certain coins stopped showing up in high condition. And when supply tightens while demand grows, the outcome is predictable. But the most fascinating part of the story is how underestimated this coin remains by the general public. Even today, people overlook it. They assume small denomination means small value. That assumption is where opportunity lives. This coin has crossed generations. It has outlived governments, currencies, and ideologies. And now, it sits at the edge of recognition, waiting for the moment when its true worth is fully understood, and that moment is closer than you think. If you've stayed with me this far, you already sense it. This is not just nostalgia. This is not just history. This is about hidden value, about knowing what others don't, about recognizing importance before the crowd catches on. We are approaching the point where the story shifts from history to revelation. From background to numbers. From legacy to value. Before I continue and reveal exactly how much this small, overlooked 1963 South Africa 10-cent coin has reached, tell me if you want me to continue. I'll go deeper, and at the end, I'll reveal the number that shocks most people.